Hello everyone, welcome to session 30 of security testing video series. In this session, I am going to explain about a terminology that we often use while performing the security testing, that is nothing but payload. So what exactly is a payload? Let me explain. So what is a payload? Payload is a terminology, you can say, okay? Payload is a term which is often used by the security testers while performing the testing. Okay, is a term which is often used by the security testers, guys. And what exactly it means is nothing but an input, guys. Okay, payload is nothing but input, guys. Okay, so whatever the input that you are providing into the application that you are testing, that is nothing but the payload or input. Let me show you an example of what exactly payload is. For example, if you go to this application tutorials ninja.com/demo application, and if you go to this login page, here you will provide, generally you will provide the email address and password, right? So here this input, this is nothing but an input, right? Here email address, whatever the email address I entered into this email address field is an input. Here whatever the password I entered into the password field is also an input, right? So here this can be called as payloads. Okay, this can be called as payloads in general term. Payload is nothing but an input. But guys, in security testing, the kind of payloads we provide are going to be the malicious payloads. Malicious payloads. So while performing security testing, we try to provide this kind of malicious payloads as part of input. Instead of providing a normal input, as security testers for checking the security of the application, we input some malicious payloads. Malicious payloads means malicious input, guys. Malicious payload is nothing but some malicious input. So what is the purpose of providing this kind of malicious payload or malicious input? If in the case of hacker, guys, okay, hackers or attackers, they create this kind of malicious input or malicious payloads to take advantage of the system, okay, to hack the system or to compromise the system or to take advantage of the system. Hackers will create this such kind of malicious payloads. Now let me show you a practical example for this malicious payload. Okay, so this is an example, guys. Okay, whatever you can see here, right, this is an example JavaScript malicious payload that hacker can use to compromise or attack a system, okay, to take advantage of the system. So for this, let me practically demonstrate how the hacker may use this payload and get advantage of the system, right? Let me do a practical demonstration. But at a high level, just understand, guys, payload is nothing but an input, and the payload can be good also. Okay, it can be a good payload or bad payload. So coming to the bad payload, it is a malicious payload that generally hackers or attackers try to create and then try to input into the applications to take advantage or hack the system or compromise the system that they want to. Okay, so let me demonstrate how the hackers may input this kind of malicious payload for taking advantage of a particular system. Let me demonstrate. Open any browser and browse this demo.testfile.net. Okay, it's a demo application, guys. Okay, this application you can perform security testing. So as you can see, guys, here I put a disclaimer saying that whatever I'm explaining is only for the education purpose, guys. If in case you are trying all this stuff that I'm explaining on the applications that other than whatever I am explaining in these sessions, right, you will be at risk. Okay, you may have to go with the legal consequences and you may end up in jail also. So make sure that you don't try all this kind of stuff on some websites you are not authorized, or okay, you are not given permissions for. So only perform the operations on the websites that I am giving as an example in this kind of sessions, guys. So demo.testfire is openly stating that which is actually created for this identifying or detecting this web application vulnerabilities, guys. Okay, so here you can perform security testing on this website. Okay, it's open for security testing. Fine. So don't perform security testing on some other websites where you don't have permissions for. Let's come back to the topic, guys, that is payload. Okay, in this case I am explaining about this malicious payload. Malicious payload is not a good payload. It's a bad kind of payload that attackers can create to take advantage of the system. So let me copy this payload, guys. Script in between, some alert is there, right? This thing I'll give as an input, right? So this is nothing but a payload. Okay, in this case, in this scenario, whatever I entered here, okay, that is script alert hacked, this is nothing but a payload. Okay, some JavaScript malicious payload. When you click on a go, guys, you see what's happening. You are getting this pop-up saying hacked on your website. So this is how, guys, hacker can play a trick and display this kind of hacked kind of message on your website. Okay, if a particular field is open for entering such kind of malicious payload, malicious input, right? Hacker can do this kind of tricky things just for fun. He can do, guys. Okay. So hope, guys, you understood what is a payload and what is a malicious payload or malicious input in this session. So this is the terminology, guys, that we just need to understand. Okay. So because while performing the security testing, we often use this payload, malicious input kind of terminologies here and there. So as security tester, we should have this knowledge about. So that's it, guys. Thank you. Bye.